Hi there, my name is Joey. I'm a game developer, environment artist, and level designer, and this is a timed platformer called The Wind Fortress, made in Unreal Engine. If you've ever played the 2D platformer Cave Story, this setting may be familiar. The Wind Fortress was a location hidden within the game's code that never got to see the light of day. Ultimately, I love the concept of an underside cliff level, and Cave Story was a game that had a massive influence on me as a kid. So to pay it homage, I wove together this reconstruction for my gameplay and testing class to display my workflow as an environment artist, level designer, and project manager. I began with designing a production plan in Excel. This project was structured as a fast-paced art test, so I needed to work backwards to organize my dates and correct my mental timeline. So I grabbed a few references, made some to-do lists, and got started on day one. For the level itself, I began with a simple grayout, and built the first few models for the project. I also added a few simple particle effects in Cascade, combined with a circulating sky dome to seal the deal for the environment surrounding the level. Finally, I made a few subtle changes to the default smoke particle to make it look more like a cloud, which I used to hide the points of intersection for the sky dome below. After building up on more of the gray block, I realized I needed to decide what kind of level this was going to be. Based on the setting, I felt an appropriate game type could be a basic time platformer, one where you try and finish the level as fast as possible on a stopwatch. I'd have to design every jump to feel naturally traversable at a fast pace while simultaneously having an appealing composition. I needed a way to guide the player through a path visually, so my first idea was to add glowing crystals along the roof, though I realized this just looked like part of the actual environment, and since they were white, they didn't stand out. While I could keep them as light sources, there needed to be something else. As a level designer, I needed to guide the player in a specific direction and pay more attention to the overall composition of the level. The level was slowly coming together, but the organization of its elements was all over the place. With a limited time span we were given for this project, I could only build so many assets, and I realized that this was causing the entire level to be less appealing overall. I needed to find a way to add more variety to the level without sacrificing development time. Over the weekend and throughout the first half of this week, I added the counter HUD and retextured several already existing models for more variety. These simple solutions cut the amount of time necessary for working on the project in half and solved almost every issue I've faced before. For example, the fire particle was used for torches to illuminate the path before the player, the counter made the level feel more like a complete game, and the new amount of assets made the setting feel more lively without making more unique models. I touched up the environmental fog and overall lighting of the scene to make the environment feel more ethereal, and finally, I spent the rest of the day finalizing the necessary components for the level. Overall, I'm pretty proud of how this turned out considering the time span we were given to complete the project. Every day I learn more and more about project management, and ultimately, I wouldn't have finished this level on time if it weren't for the production plan I made at the start. If I've learned anything from designing this project, it's that time management is critical. So if you find yourself struggling in that, try and think outside the box and work backward for a more consistent development cycle. Your results may just surprise you.